only on ATN.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I thought that putting us in lead of this minister and the government.
Give us access to our money in the account.
I've always said there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites, which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Good morning and welcome to Open Air on Atlantic Television Network. Open Air is the network's flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actor to explore hope and engender positive impact to the society. Today on Open Air, we look at these topics. First, Edo Guba. Edo is a do or die affair. Obaseki speaks on the upcoming elections. And then on to Anambra State. Local government poll is fraudulent, offensive, Labour Party has to say. And on Ogun State, PDP factions hold parallel local government congress. And then on to Benue State. PDP suspends Melaye, summons Soswam. And then from there we'll go to Zamfara State, where APC slams Governor Lawal and tells him to stop blaming Matawale for insecurity. And then on to Labour Party. I want to leave a legacy of unity, Senator Nenadi says. And on 2027, I never said I'll be vice president, Obi has to say. And then on to Senegal. President dissolves National Assembly. We are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. You can watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll delve right into the show. Do not go away.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I thought that putting us in lead of this minister and the government.
Give us access to our money in the account.
I've always said there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites, which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence. To condemn this act, I call for difficult to leave of this minister and the government.
Give us access to our money we
I've always said there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence. To condemn this act, I call for difficult to leave of this minister and the government.
Give us access to our money we
I've always said there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Welcome Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Joining me on Open Conversation this morning is Ndamzi Ekulo, ESQ. Ndamzi is a lawyer and conflict resolution expert. Good morning, Ndamzi, and welcome to Open Air.
Good morning, Laurentia. Good morning, viewers. Happy Sunday.
And also joining me on Open Air is Ifeanyi Chukwu Ugochukwu, a political analyst. Good morning, Ifeanyi Chukwu, and welcome to Open Air.
Good morning, Laurentia. Good morning, Damzi, Esquire, and good morning, Nigerians, Rivers people. It's good to talk Nigeria on a Sunday as we approach the Edo State, the long-awaited gubernatorial elections and all its intricacies and the power play. So all of them has concluded their grand finale of campaign, and we now go into the door-to-door campaigns.
All right.
And we await to see what the Tinubu administration is going to offer as his first off-season cycle elections.
Interesting. And by the way, before we delve into the show, both of you look very good this morning.
Thank you. And you look good.
You don't look like the country is right now.
We look good. We look good. We don't look Nigerian.
We don't look Nigerian. We look up to God.
Yes.
And speaking of Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki on Saturday warned that next week's governorship election in the state is a do-or-die affair. Obaseki warned that any form of electoral malpractice from the opposition would lead to death. He spoke during a People's Democratic Party rally in Ekemwan area of the state. Similarly, the 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, on Saturday warned against any attempt to rig next week's governorship election in Edo State. Atiku warned that Edo is not Lagos, where, according to him, elections can be rigged by the All Progressive Congress. He spoke in Ekemwan area of Edo State during the grand finale of the PDP's governorship campaign rally. The former vice president also urged the people of the state to protect their votes to avoid rigging. On Saturday, September 21, the people of Edo State will file out to vote for the next governor of the state. Asue Yodalo of the PDP, Monday Okweblo of the All Progressive Congress, and Olumide Akpata of the Labour Party are the front runners in the governorship election. Let me start with you, Ndamzi. Obaseki's statement, the Guba election is a do-or-die affair. What do you have to say to that?
Yes, that statement is undemocratic. It does not show that Obaseki is democratic enough, because if he is, he shouldn't have made such a statement that the next week Saturday election is a do-or-die affair. And he even went ahead and threatened death. That is unacceptable, because we are only jostling to make sure that we reside in a saner society. So him saying that the election is a do-or-die affair is very undemocratic, and we condemn it in all totality. And I also believe it is, if it were to be a pure and saner society, after his tenure, the security agencies ought to invite him for questioning, because that is a serious security concern, threatening citizens ahead of the governorship election. That can even lead to voter apathy. People might be scared and not wanting to come out to cast their vote. So that statement is very, very wrong. It's very undemocratic and doesn't show that Obaseki will accept defeat if his party loses in the election, because he has made it known to Nigerians that he's already crying foul. So if he loses, there will be lots of death and all that, which is very, 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 very uncalled for. I applaud Atiku in that statement he made. He warned. Like what we read out, Atiku said, Atiku warned of rigging. That should be a statesmanly statement, you know, advising the umpires and also those who will partake in the election to maintain decorum and allow the process run the way it should have been ordinarily. So I joined voices in condemning what Obaseki said.
All right. Ugochukwu, you recall that PDP declined voting the peace accord by INEC sometime last week. Obaseki said that the PDP will not sign and raised concerns around the police force, as it were. You know, and on the other hand, Obaseki has also made strong statements along the line during the campaign, particularly when a police officer was killed during the attack on the APC governorship candidates. And he said that if these men responsible are not arrested, Edo State will burn down, Nigeria will burn down. Now, when you collate all these statements, and then him coming out to say that it is a do-or-die affair and threatening death along the line, isn't that a cause for concern? And one would wonder, are there ground soldiers that, you know, will perpetrate this violence, kill persons during the elections if it's not going according to the way PDP wants it? Do not forget also that the IG of police had come out to ban Obaseki's local vigilante from participating in the elections. What do you have to say considering all these indices?
Thank you, Laurentia. And I never knew Edo State is coming up when I was making my intro of, you know, saying how the parties has concluded their grand finale campaign train, which witnessed a lot of big wins from around Nigeria. And also the grand finale campaign has also shown us the indifference of Mr. President towards election and concerns of Nigerians. You know, because if Mr. President were to be concerned about election, and this being the first election that is to be conducted under his watch, he did not go to Edo State to showcase his commitment towards the democracy he has hitherto been clamoring for, and saying that he was one of the fathers of democracy and those who fought the military to a standstill. Having said that, I want to condemn in totality the choice of words and the choice of language of the governor of Edo State in the person of Obaseki. But I am so surprised at what Damzi said. Damzi, you could recall that Obaseki is not one who is afraid of speaking truth to power or making his intentions known. Remember that he's the one of the governors that accused the Muhammadu Buhari's-led administration of printing so many watts of naira. You know, even when when the new naira note and the exchange came out, it was him who came to the public and said that this is how much that have been printed, and that Nigeria is not short of the naira notes, that the naira should be made to be in circulation, and nobody refuted him till today. And having seen the kind of democracy Nigeria is practicing, I'm left, you know, dumbfounded. The kind of languages they use and the type of muzzle they show in trying to govern us. Obaseki have seen it all from the APC administration. Remember, he was sojourning from APC to PDP. The house was set on fire under his watch by Adam Soshomole and his cohorts, and he became a nomad, you know, cross-carpeting to the PDP that welcomed him, and that made him to retain power, even against all odds. And since the floating of this coming election that will be culminating on Saturday, the 21st of September, Obaseki has undergone so many turbulent times. You know, the attack on the governorship candidate of APC's convoy, together with that of Shaibu at the airport, and the perpetrators are still at large, then that was to make a statement that Edo State is ungovernable. You also, recall the type of court orders and kangaroo court orders and the courts have been turned out from different courts in reinstating Shaibu, whom was, due process was followed to impeach him. It is also a slap on the person of Obaseki. So Obaseki has stomached enough. Obaseki has gone through a lot of things, that will make a man break down. And for him to speak in the way he have, you will recall last week when the police and the DSS invited and arrested the Labour president, Joe Ajaero. Nigeria is a state where if you don't make noise, if you don't use those harsh words, nobody listens to you. Nobody takes you, nobody takes you for whom you are. Nigeria is a state where they have come to use, negative power to acquire what they want. APC is using everything in their purview to make sure that this election swings their way. And Obaseki is not in control of the federal police. You recall that the commissioner of police has been redeployed and someone else has taken charge. You will now know that the police want to mobilize 35,000 troops or personnel as if we are at war, and we have other places where we need them. So Edo State is in the eye of the storm, and Obaseki knows this. And Obaseki, having known that he is alone, his man alone, the Nyesom Wike that Hideto helped him in ascendance to power for his second tenure, is not with him. He's neither here nor is neither here nor there. So you will now understand why Obaseki is using all the apparatus around him, all the things. Any drowning man, even the slightest leaf around him becomes a saving grace. So the language that the Nigerian government understands is force. The language that makes the Nigerian government or authorities give you your way is when you begin to speak the street language, so to say. So Obaseki have learnt that. Remember that Obaseki is not somebody who is trained to be a traditional Nigerian politician. He's coming from the technocrat angle, and Obaseki has learnt through the ropes. If Oga Obaseki keeps quiet, he will be swallowed. And if you recall what happened during the 2023 general elections, how people used all manner of force and intimidation to get to where they are today, you will understand why Obaseki wants to toe the same line, unlike what he is known for. Remember in Lagos, people were intimidated during the 2023 general elections. Remember in Lagos, Labour Party won the presidential election, but what happened during the governorship elections? In Rivers State here, we saw what happened. We are not oblivious of what happened. I have given an example that where I voted seamlessly during the presidential elections, and we had fun. People shared pure water, people shared snacks. During the March 18 governorship elections, I couldn't vote in my own parish. A Catholic parish ground that gave INEC the ground, that the place accommodated about 23 polling units. You could imagine how big the place is. During the governorship election, we could not access the place. In Rivers State here, people went and were using tank crier to dissuade people from coming out to vote. In Lagos State, the same thing. One of the couplets, the boys that came to intimidate people, have come out today in Lagos State to be crying that what he did, look at what he did, look at what he did. So in Edo State, Obaseki have seen the handwritings on the wall, and Obaseki has decided to play dirty. Remember that Obasanjo is the person that said election is a do or die affair. Right. In Nigeria, if you don't go all out, and he started by declining his signature from that peace pact Peace Party did not yield any good for Jonathan in 2015. Signing a peace party that has no consequences, that has have no bearing in order just to cow people, is what the so-called Nigerian elites that have seen Nigeria depreciate, that is seen Nigerians going through a lot of hardship, hunger, insecurity. Look at flood. What is the ecological fund in Nigeria being meant for? So those people again, Bishop Hassan Kuka and spearheaded by Abdulsalam Abubakar, are coming to Edo State now to play to the gallery in order to make sure that when people are cheated, when elections are announced in the night, in the middle of the night, people should take it hook, line, and sinker. And Obaseki knows that, Laurentia, if you go through the courts, once the election results are being declared, you are at the mercy of whomever is saddled with the responsibility of the tribunal and the appeal court. So Obaseki is playing the game that the Nigerian authorities understand, and this is the game of the Nigerian democracy that we are. And I will advise Obaseki that if it is only one Nigerian that can tell us how to take back Nigeria, because if we don't go this way, if nobody stick out his neck to show us the way to take back Nigeria, Laurentia, we will continue to be in this mess. That people will sit in their house and talk about elections and nobody says anything. So let Obaseki, use all the apparatus, the one that he has within his purview, and make sure that he's not cheated in this election. And let us get it right from here.
But you haven't said, I allowed you to actually say, really say your mind, because, I mean, with everything you have said, you tried to justify Obaseki saying that an election in Edo State is a do or die affair.
So they have made
and
it.
You also justified Obaseki threatening death during elections. You justified criminality on national television. I want you to understand that.
It is not criminality.
Now, hold on, fine. You talked about Obaseki reacting with respect to the death of a police officer, and the suspects are still at large. You recall that APC has come out to allege that the suspects are hiding in Obaseki's government house. That's an allegation, and Obaseki, in all his speech, has not refuted that. The PDP of Edo State, in all their statements, have not refuted or, addressed that particular allegation. The second question that brings to mind with respect to that attack would be, it was an APC candidate that was attacked. And do not forget, as well as Shuaibu, because, I mean, people are focused on the deputy governor was attacked.
Yes.
The deputy governor and the APC candidate was attacked.
I mentioned
that. That attack was suspicious because of the timing.
Yes.
That attack happened immediately after the court reinstated Shuaibu as the deputy governor of Edo State. And then PDP is coming out to accuse APC of trying to kill their their Guba candidate and also assassinate the deputy governor, who has cross-carpeted to the APC with his grassroots people. Now, when you talk about intimidation playing out, you have forgotten so quickly the political bourgeois and the leviathans in Edo State PDP that cross-carpeted to APC, and most recently, Obeide Ihama, a very strong political colossus in PDP, cross-carpeted with Alimikeni, the name, I'm finding a little bit difficult to pronounce the name. Two political big weights, just cross-carpeted. You're not talking of the South-South, PDP South-South chairman, Dan Obi. You're not talking talking about a lot of Ibinedium. A lot of them have cross-carpeted. And they are cross-carpeting with their strength. They are cross-carpeting with their strategy. They are cross-carpeting with their voter strength. They are cross-carpeting with whatever area they are
have
controlling. So when you make all these analysis, there are also certain variables you did not put into consideration to see how the pendulum is swinging in favor of the PDP or in favor of the APC, as it were. So now, you also forgot to mention a very important variable as well. Obaseki's issues with the Oba of Benin, who, like it or yes, has a very strong influence in the political ecosystem in Benin. You can't take that away. Mm-hmm. So now, Obaseki has issues with a lot of persons. And like it or yes, these things will have to play out. So when you present it like the whole game is, I guess, it's politics. It's a game of interest. And if people are defecting massively like this, that goes to show to a large extent that something is inherently wrong right now. And probably the people in PDP are beginning to see it. And hence they are cross-carpeting. I mean, I'm looking at another perspective because we presented an entire perspective supporting a governor coming out to say that there will be death.
Can I respond?
And it's a do or die affair. Yes,
in one word, I want to respond to this. You know, I was here on either Monday or Tuesday last week, and this whole Edo, alignment and realignment issue came up. I told us here that Obaseki is not someone who is oblivious of being left at sea. Remember that even the defection that we are seeing now, Obaseki have not even suffered half of the defection and what is happening to him now, other than what he suffered when he was seeking for his second tenure. Obaseki, his SSG, people left him in droves. That is why till today I still question the rationality behind Obaseki forgetting what Shaibu stood for him. You have been here, I've been mentioning it, that Shaibu was the person who stood with, he had all the opportunities, all the paraphernalia, all the soft landing to have left Obaseki at sea. But he stood with Obaseki. His commissioners, remember that Obaseki was coming with only 6 house members or 7. And the other people are also having their ticket and the election certificates won and have their constituents to have swing the vote to the APC side. Because they didn't have, Obaseki did never allow them to have representation in the House of Assemblies. Is it not? So Obaseki is not somebody who is frightened by people leaving him or defecting. They are even very lucky that Obaseki, like I always say, if the incumbent is not seeking for the election, it is always a veritable avenue for some politicians to make an inroad. But if you were here when Obaseki was seeking for second tenure and people left him, that was why when Atiku came to Edo, he now re-echoed Edo is not Lagos. Look, that mantra was the mantra that Edo people used in supporting Obaseki, and it was grassroots movement, organic movement that didn't want what plays out in Lagos State to repeat itself in Edo State. When the now president Bola Ahmed Tinubu made a statement in Lagos regarding the person of Obaseki, Edo people rose up and said it will not happen in Lagos State, in Edo State. Remember that the former governor of Ogun State, is it Arebe Shola, was the handpick of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They did not want it to fester into even the coming of the late Akeredolu. You remember what happened in before Akeredolu came. Akeredolu was not the person that Bola Ahmed Tinubu positioned, but Akeredolu defeated him roundly. Bola Ahmed Tinubu wanted to have his stunch all in the southern states, all in the southwestern states. But what happened in Edo clearly showed that the people who has the power to make the decisive decision of who governs them. I know that Obi has left and all the big wigs you mentioned in Edo State. But whom are they living with?
Does that justify Obaseki saying it's a do or die affair. I'm trying to
rationalize
or understand your justification.
Obasanjo defined politics in Nigeria as a do or die affair.
So because Obasanjo defined it, and that should be a tradition. That should be a norm.
I am only an analyst. You know, Obaseki is in the eye of the storm. I said that. Obaseki has seen the in-play and interplay that is happening within this election more than I do. He has the security reports. He has the security reports and all those things down on his table. So before he could come out, the Obaseki that we know to come out and make such damning statements, you know that he has seen it all. And for him to, you know, make this statement is to make sure that Edo people, he's just making a clarion call to Edo people to wake up.
This is not a clarion call.
No, this is, see, this is politics. This is politics.
Threatening people with death, saying elections is a do or die affair.
He has also seen where his people,
saying that election is a do or die affair, and also threatening death on the people, or saying anybody that risks election will be met with death. May I remind you in the first place that Obaseki is not the judiciary. If people are caught in the act, what should happen is that they should be taken to court. The court will determine whether they are guilty or not, and the court will determine the punishment. But coming out to say there will be jungle justice because you have the power as the executive arm of government to make such statements and implement it brings a lot to question.
Thank God that I have an esquire here.
Say Obaseki is in the eye of the storm as well. Lamidi Apata is also a Labour Party candidate. He's in the eye of the storm as well. He is running an election and he has invested heavily in the elections as well. You agree with me?
Who will you say is the rival opposition in Edo State? So is APC?
Regardless.
Is APC that wants to take power? They want to take power.
Let me come to you, Ndamzi. If it's an election, is there anybody removed from being inside the storm? Because I mean, is it not the same equitable investments that have been made for the governorship tickets, the form, the interest form, the campaigns, and all of that? Please, all of them. I need it to make sense to me what Ugochukwu is actually.
Laurentia, please let him also tell us, because you asked me a question.
Hold on, you've had your say. Yes, thank you. Ndamzi, you can speak.
Well, I had wanted to respond to Ugochukwu earlier, but I decided to take time, you know, for him to, you know, lay proper foundation to his ideas. But I want to disagree with him completely that nobody under the law have the powers to fan the embers of war. You do not encourage people to go the way of crisis simply because you have understood that the game is not favoring your party. Obaseki has been the governor of Edo and is still the governor of Edo. That shows he is among the leaders of the country. What role has Obaseki played in making sure that the National Assembly, you know, review all the sections of the law that will make Nigeria have a free and fair, credible election? He has not played any role. He has not even sponsored any bill to that effect. And believe me, he has been a beneficiary of this same act. So having known now that he is not in terms with the federal government, that the odds are against him, he is crying foul. So my own take is this: nobody under the law have the powers to threaten the public. His statement could encourage and lead to public disturbance. You know, so it is not to be encouraged at all. Or instead, what Obaseki should be thinking is how he has failed not to sponsor bills to the National Assembly that can help in rejigging our electoral system. Yes, of course, that is it. So he just, this thing we say in the village that everybody should be careful not to throw stone in the market. You don't know whether your mother is in the market or your sister is in the market. See, Nigerian leaders have disappointed us so moto.
Thank God you're coming to what I'm saying.
They have disappointed us. Even Obaseki
That's our
himself,
democracy.
a man who helped him to retaining the second position. What happened to the man? Just barely 2 weeks, he started insulting E.M. Wike. After Wike pulled resources, rallied around men, and gave him all the necessary support, made sure that he became the governor of Edo. What happened thereafter? Just 2 weeks after, he started embarrassing Wike on national television. So Obaseki should face it there. He has been a beneficiary of the bad system, so let someone else benefit what he has benefited, because he failed in his roles. Who says that the governors cannot sponsor bills through their representatives to making sure we have better laws? But because of the benevolence in the office, all the goodies and all that blinded him. He refused to see that tomorrow is pregnant. So that tomorrow is almost about to deliver. So let Obaseki own up and accept whatever baby the tomorrow will deliver. That is the truth.
All right. Anambra State chapter of the Labour Party has rejected the nomination of certain members and current local government transition members of the All Progressive Grand Alliance as Labour Party candidates for the upcoming local government election. The party has reaffirmed this stance on non-participation in the election scheduled for September 28, 2024, calling it a sham and obnoxious. In a press release signed by the Labour Party's State Publicity Secretary, Iyo Ebe, obtained by newsmen on Saturday and dated September 14, 2024, the party accused the Anambra State government and the State Independent Electoral Commission of orchestrating a fraudulent election process. The Labour Party Anambra chapter claims that the recent publication of this so-called Labour Party candidates by ANSIEC is misleading and reflects a larger issue of compromised governance. The party stressed that this irregular process undermines the principles of due process and electoral fairness. In the press release, the Labour Party described the actions of ANSIEC and the Anambra State government as a criminal assault on the electoral process and an affront to the law-abiding citizens of the state. Let me start with you, Ndanzi. The drama going on between the Labour Party and the ANSIEC publishing the names of wrong candidates, for Labour Party. Could this be a mistake, an oversight, or you think it's a deliberate political ploy?
Well, in Nigerian politics, anything can happen. I am not privy to know whether it was a deliberate mistake or a printer's devil, as the case may be. But considering what we know about the Nigerian political space, you see, politicians in our country, we know, look for means of, cutting corners, and also looking at ways they can cheat and deceive the other party. So I think what has happened there, like the Labour Party called it, a criminal assault. Unless the ANSIEC would come out and tell the public that it was an honest mistake. Otherwise, it is unlawful. That act is condemnable, because you cannot write a WAEC exam in demonstration secondary school and expect to take your result in a community primary school. So that is very wrong, what ANSIEC have done. And that goes ahead to show, and also experience have shown us in this country, that all these SIEC from different states can never conduct any credible election. Whatever they do, it's always in tandem or in line with the instructions of the governor of that particular state. So all these SIEC whatever should be discouraged and pulled out of our constitution, because they have contributed undemocratically so much in this country. Nothing good comes out of local government elections conducted by State Independent Electoral Commission. As far as I'm concerned, it is not a democratic process because it is a selective process. So ANSEC should own up, tell the public what has happened, and also revert to status quo.
All right, Ifeanyi, what is your take on this issue?
Anambra State in the news for the very wrong reasons, because remember the governor who priced himself as an academia, who priced himself as a man coming from the technocrats system, and who has held the highest office as an economist in Nigeria. He went to Anambra State, and this is what he's giving us. First, as someone who has gone up there, he should have written the wrongs of Obiano, because even Obiano did a lot of innovations more than him, and he should have also made sure that he started with local government elections to make sure that the local governments in Anambra State are being governed by elected chairmen. Now that the federal government has pushed them to the wall through the ruling of the Supreme Court on the local government autonomy, they are now waking up to conduct elections. Look at in Nigeria, about 21 states operating with illegal caretaker committee and transitional administrators and solats and malats, as they call it. So hence they have accepted to conduct elections. They don't want to go through the due process, because look at this structure you're talking about is the local government, the grassroots. That is why almost all the governors in Nigeria make sure that they have their people in the local government saddle. And also where they also dip their hands into the common purse of the local governments. I know within next month that will be a thing of the past, because the local government chairman will be held responsible for whatever monies that are disbursed to them. They will be regular visitors to EFCC, and there will be regular visitors to ICPC offices, because they don't have immunity. So if they are conducting elections in Anambra State and Labour Party is crying that the names of the candidates that are turned out by an ANSEC are not members of their political party, we shouldn't doubt them, because they know the members of their political party, and they know those who want to vie for elections. And you understand what is going on there is this. In Anambra State, Labour Party made a very serious inroads during the 2023 general elections, and they don't take it away with the person and the personality of Peter Obi and Victor Ume, who are the former strong members of ABGA, and the very seasoned political bigwigs in Anambra State, with good name, not only political bigwig in the person, in the sense that you are just a politician, but politicians that have touched life, that have changed the narrative of what politics is all about in Nigeria. So people are now aligning with their ideology and their ideas, and have embraced Labour Party. Just like if you bring it a little down to Rivers State, will you say that now that PDP Rivers have said that they are not participating in the elections, tomorrow you see names being floated on the RISEC website bearing a name like Ogochukwu Ifeanyi bearing PDP candidate for so local government? You will not see it. If you see it, it is flogged. And I want to disagree with Barrister that is not a mistake. That is a calculated, a mistake because they know that they want to use, hence Labour Party have even said in their own statement that they are not going to participate in the election. Labour Party are not going to participate at all. They say they are not in for a kangaroo election that does not meet the requirements and in line with the process of elections being enacted by the Anambra State House of Assembly. So there are all the Anambra ANSEC is cutting corners, and that have made these people see that we don't have trust. We don't have belief that this election will give the needed fair playing ground. And then have now said, we are not going to be part of it. That is what happened. And then, for people who want to make name with Labour Party, having known how Labour Party fared during the last general elections, want to use them to achieve cheap popularity and cheap gains in whatever they are doing in Anambra State. Labour Party has told the Anambra government and the ANSEC to go and write the results as they usually do in Nigeria and come and announce, or perhaps not go through the hog of wasting Anambra people's money, that they should just mention the people they want to occupy the different seats in the local governments, as not to spend Anambra people's money and not to waste people's time that they are conducting elections. That's what the Labour Party have said. So if I will advise ANSEC and the Soludo, let them go ahead and announce the people that they want to occupy their seats.
This also be employed to, when you say it's not a mistake, by this singular action, even if during election somebody votes for Labour Party, it means that the person didn't vote for the Labour Party, the person voted for APGA candidate.
Of course.
So by that singular action, it automatically disqualifies two political parties. It removes two political parties from the equation in the local government polls by that singular action, because an APGA candidate cannot win election on another platform.
No, what they do is that they plant stunch. They just use it to deceive the voting populace. You could recall here that last month when Bauchi State conducted their own local government elections, which I also said in where I voted during the presidential election, we didn't have a Labour Party candidate in House of Representatives and Senate. I don't know the name of that particular local government, whether it's Obiapo or Port Harcourt City. Labour Party did not have candidate, but people voted. You know how our people normally vote on sentiment. They voted Labour Party all through. At the end of the day, the vote for Labour Party was now given, was counted, and Labour Party came first. But the second runners-up was declared the winner. Also, what we saw in...
That's a slightly different thing from what's playing out in...
No, what's playing out is that they are not going to put their main candidate, the person they want to win the election. Because in those places where you are seeing those shenanigans is where they know that Labour Party has a strong force. So if they just put maybe Ugochukwu should win in this particular place, and they now place Fred there, if Fred eventually garners the vote for Labour Party in that particular locality, then Ugochukwu is the person that is for APGA here. Automatically, you cannot declare Ugochukwu winner. You cannot declare Fred the winner. You now give the vote to the second runner-up.
You don't understand what has played out in Anambra State.
Okay.
What is playing out in Anambra State that is making Labour Party cry out is that the names of the candidates of APGA
appeared in their logo.
Were registered
under the
Labour
name party's logo.
Now, you in your analysis said that this is not a mistake, it's a deliberate strategic ploy by the ANSEC. Right, and I'm asking you a question. If that's a deliberate ploy by ANSEC, is that not a single move, like using one stone to remove two birds or to kill two birds, as they usually say? Because now, if somebody comes or people vote Labour Party massively, the argument would be that it was not Labour Party that they voted the party, but it was an APGA candidate. So what it means is APGA is disqualified from that particular win. Labour Party is also disqualified from that particular win. So the win will naturally go to the second person, which may not. So the question will now be, who are the candidates that will be fielded in APGA? Second question, why is APGA not crying out, and why is only Labour Party crying out? Or APGA have not observed that their candidates are not registered under their party but under Labour Party? Ndamzi, what do you have to say?
Yes, this matter, there are both pre-election implications and also post-election implications. Yes. Labour Party at this point, is within their rights and duty bound to approach the court to halt that process. They can as well allow the election happen and approach the court to invalidate it, because like I posited before, you cannot write WAEC in DSS and expect to get your certificate from a community secondary school. The law is very tight as to qualification to contest an election in Nigeria. The law says you must be a member of a political party. You must have been a member of that party for nothing less than 6 months. So APGA candidates contesting that election in Labour Party automatically disqualifies them, even though we know the Electoral Commission does not have the powers of disqualification. Only the court can disqualify a candidate. So that is why I say the implications are both pre and post-election concerns, because the course of action has already arisen, pre-election matter, while the election, when ANSEC goes ahead in conducting that election with the names of APGA candidates appearing in Labour Party logo, it becomes a post-election concern, which the court have jurisdiction to try and invalidate that election.
So, you understand the reason why I made my analysis. It's still in line with what you said. Look at what I said. Labour Party has come out now to tell us that they did not conduct any screening. Labour Party did not even float an expression of interest form for people to come and buy, and it is in the public domain. Now, a political party who wants to maybe to make a name or to say that the election is in all-encompassing, try to now use other names by proxy. If I'm the person that is for APGA, I will be for APGA, but I'm telling you that most of the places why they do these things is they have seen the stronghold of where Labour Party can win election.
Is it the political parties that printed out these forms or the INEC?
No, what we are reacting to, what Labour Party is reacting to is the names ANSEC has published.
That's what I'm saying.
But
is
Labour
it political parties that publish this? It's ANSEC. So
no, it's ANSEC.
This analysis you're making falls under the purview of the ANSEC.
No, for him, he has said that if you have pre-election matters and you have post-election matters. Now, if Labour Party, in their right, have said we are not participating in the elections, and we have not presented any candidate, we not even conduct any screening for any candidate. So that means that whoever that is placing a placeholder with the name of Labour Party knows what he's doing. And at the end of the day, even if Labour Party wins there, the vote and the person that we hitherto take the day is somebody from the second runners-up, which might be APGA or any other party.
How will it be
that is what I'm saying.
APGA's candidate is?
No, APGA can place somebody that they know. That is why I told you earlier that if I am a bona fide member of APGA and APGA want me to be the chairman of Aniocha local government, I will be the APGA candidate. Why they will place a stunch that will disrupt people in Labour Party? Because at the end of the day, the Labour Party candidate cannot go to court and claim it.
Electoral law.
No,
under electoral law, can a political party float to candidates?
No, it cannot.
So what
it cannot float. No, it cannot.
You're talking of APGA having a candidate, a main candidate under the APGA logo, and also having another candidate in Labour Party to cause confusion. It's not. I'm trying to make it make sense.
At the end of the day,
Act, it can't even happen. It can't even happen.
Okay.
And secondly, this is not published by APGA.
No, it's published by ANSEC.
Yes. So do you understand?
Yes, I get.
So that's why I was asking you, like, it's not, I'm trying to make it make sense to me.
Well, then, for me, I just said it the way I understood, because all those things, like we are seeing the same, almost seemingly, something playing out in River State. Almost seemingly playing out in River State.
There was no candidate. And the RISEC did not publish the name of other political parties
that did not field candidates.
In the party that did not field any candidates. It's a different thing altogether, very different scenario.
I think to regularize that situation in Anambra State, the RISEC should, the chairman of the ANSEC in Anambra should, first of all, publicly own up their mistake and apologize to Labour Party. And also
ABGA as well.
Yes, ABGA as well, for such mistake. That mistake is huge.
It's huge.
It could cost ABGA their positions. So the ANSEC chairman need to, as quickly as possible, if he wants to retain a name, he should go on air, apologize to both Labour Party and ABGA, and also ask for a withdrawal of the names.
And to a large extent, and doesn't it actually validate the concerns of Labour Party in the upcoming polls in Anambra State?
Of course,
because they are accusing the executive and the ANSEC. Doesn't that validate their concerns?
Of course it does. It does.
So to a large extent, it's indicting.
Yes, it's indicting. Even at this point, you can see they have already termed it a criminal assault. That is to show that they are properly briefed. And believe me, if ANSEC goes ahead to conduct that election, it will be a comatose.
You're right.
Okay, finally, there is something I want to say.
Out of time.
Just this. Because Labour Party in their statement did not tell us the whole scenario. Now, what of if there is Labour Party is having a faction in Anambra State? Planted by, you understand? Yeah, so that the faction now will now present a name to...
different.
That's what I'm saying. The faction will now present a name to ANSEC. And ANSEC is now publishing that name.
Faction is not coming. This is not a faction issue. If it were to be a faction issue, the news would be that Anambra, Labour Party in Anambra State faction, another faction.
Okay. No, I'm just trying to wrap my head around it.
This is a case of ANSEC publishing
under
Labour Party.
I understand.
All right. Moving on to Ogun State. Ogun People's Democratic Party on Saturday held parallel local government congress across the 20 local government areas in the state. It will be recalled that the party 2 weeks ago held parallel ward congress across the 236 wards in the state. Saturday's parallel congresses were held at the same local government secretariats across the state. This resulted in the party producing 2 sets of executives for all the 18 available positions in the local governments. While the congresses were held simultaneously in some local governments, others were held one after the other at the same venue, depending on which factions came first to the venue. The governorship candidate of the party in the last general election, Ladi Adebutu, controls a faction of the party, while the other faction is controlled by the trio of the former governorship aspirant of the party in 2023, Honorable Jimmy Lawal, Adebutu's running mate in 2023, Honorable Adekunle Akinlade, immediate vice chairman, past chairman of the party in the state, Sikuralahi Ogundele, among others. Interesting. Ugochukwu, what do you have to say about this? And ironically, the parallel congresses were very peaceful. Not an iota of violence. Everybody waited their turn. What do you have to say to this?
The invalidation of the Congress and the one that will be authenticated to be the main PDP Congress will be the one that has gotten the nod from the PDP National and the one that INEC supervised. As simple as that.
INEC supervised all of them.
That means it is now left to be harmonized through the courts. And again, the PDP neck, we now know, because each faction of any political given party is being sided by either the National Working Committee or the NEC. But what makes it more complicating now is this: PDP national is even factionalized. PDP national, even if, let me not say factionalized, they don't speak in oneness. They speak on this unified tune, and they also, tend to align where their interests are, especially Damagun, Anyanwu, and a few of them. And then the publicity secretary of PDP has his own people, from the BOT siding him, and people from the National Working Committee. So it's a whole lot that at the end of the day, they still have a very long way to go. And if Ogun State PDP by now cannot put their house in order to have a common front, it's really disheartening, because PDP cannot afford to be losing states in Southwest, especially as they have lost some states in the Southeast. They have also lost some states in the South, and Edo State is in the eye of the storm. For me, Edo State will be taken by APC at the end of the day, and they have lost ground. So if PDP want to make an inroad, this where we call on Adeleke, the governor of Osun State, to play a very big role. I don't know what those governors are doing. That is why, Laurentia, when I hear PDP Governors Forum that are speaking, taking sides and taking judgment and trying to intimidate the FCT minister and all that. Have you heard the name of Adeleke? When last did you hear the name of Adeleke? Or even see him with his brother governors? Even this meeting that happened in Taraba State, did you see him in the picture? Have you heard his name? So this is his geopolitical zone where he should play the leading role. Because now, I think in the whole of Southwest, he is the only PDP governor. So what is his input? Enyesom Wike leaves River State, South, goes as far as Plateau State, goes as far as Sokoto State, leaves River State, goes to Akwa Ibom State, goes to Ebonyi State, and makes his presence felt. And even in Bauchi State, where the likes of Balana has suddenly found their voices. What has those people, where have they been? Where is Adeleke, Ademola Adeleke, as a PDP face in Southwest? Before the 2023 general elections, where was he? After the 2023 general election, where is he? What is his input in the governorship election that is coming up in Edo State and in Ondo State?
All right.
I questioned him in few months past that what role is he playing? He's one of the governors that has deep pockets. Even if he didn't dip his hand in the state coffers, the role of what do you call him now, Makinde? What is Makinde now? What is it? He's positioning himself now as the next kingcom in PDP. This is where we want to see them play out their leading roles, so that people will see and know that these people are serious-minded in repositioning PDP for 2027 election. And repositioning PDP is not capturing power at the top, but starting from the states. Because whatever you make through the state now is what we are going to see you do in the national. We have not seen Makinde in Edo State. We have not seen what he's doing in Ondo State, but he's busy now trying to play to the gallery of repositioning PDP and being the major financier. We see where that leads. But if they continue to lose grounds in the states within their geopolitical zone, they cannot make a statement in the national.
All right. What do you have to say to this story? PDP factions holding parallel local government forms. Congress, sorry.
PDP faction holding parallel Congress and INEC itself supervising both Congresses, both parallel Congresses, shows how weak and broken down institutions in our country has become. Because ordinarily, INEC should have served as the commission wielding the big stick against the offenders of the Electoral Act. Because it is the responsibility of the commission to identify a particular party which is registered under the law and recognized by the commission. But in this case, a particular party is registered and recognized. Why are you recognizing both factions? So it is very wrong, and we pray and we also believe that the system will be properly rejigged and the institutions will now be stronger than men, because we have men who are stronger than the institutions. That is why we see breakdown of law and order in our election.
Which brings to question the role of the PDP National Working Committee in Ogun State. Because, I mean, INEC is supposed to work hand in hand with the national body of the party to identify the particular faction that, you know, is approved by the National Working Committee.
Yes, you know, I have been quite disappointed with the PDP National Working Committee and also the NEC with the roles they have played recently. I mean, they have not really shown that disciplinary measures as the PDP we used to know in the past. This time around, they are just there acting like kindergarten pupils. So I think it's high time the NWC and the NEC wield its big stick on those, you know, messing the party up. And also, factions can only be encouraged where the house is not united. That is a sign of disunity
in the national
level.
course.
Because if the National Working Committee and the NUC, they are speaking in one voice, I don't think the regionals and the state ESCOs will mess up.
All right.
So they need to put their house in order and rejig the party.
All right. Chairman of the Labour Party National Caretaker Committee, Senator Nenadi Usman, has said she wants to leave a legacy of a united Labour Party. Her statement partly reads, "The legacy I desire to be remembered for is that I met a Labour Party in relative conflict and disunity, but left it a united, formidable and indomitable elections-winning party nationwide." She continued, "This is a tall, demanding order, but it is achievable if we submit to the spirit of forgiveness of the wrongs of the past by all sides, reinforce the values of the party's founding fathers, and bond diligently as one family on a voyage together into the future. We want together as one political family by the reality of the law. We escaped together the sword of INEC, which would have otherwise taken our beloved party out of his books for having no legally acceptable leadership that meets the requirements of our country's Electoral Act. At the worst, we had a situation which could have left the Commission with no alternative but to deregister our party from their portals and excluded us from all elections. That course of action was successfully averted on September 4 at Umuahia. Those who accept our committee's olive branch of peace and work with us for our party's rapid progress shall find my committee's embrace. Those who adamantly maintain a path that retards progress by promoting division, conflict, collision, and chaos shall have the best we can offer to saboteurs. Prayers. Finally, I urge you to remember this eternal battlefront truth. No matter how long it takes, those who keep faith, reason together, fight together from the trenches as a band of brothers and soldiers of freedom are bound to win together as victors of liberty. To this end, my doors are open to everyone who means well for our party. Come forward and let us reason together on my committee's supreme mandate. This is the mandate to deliver to our party in about 3 months, exemplary unifying state congresses nationwide. This will climax in a transparent, all-inclusive national convention which will produce the next substantive NEC and NWC of our party and subsequently the next leadership of our great country, she said. Ugochukwu, what do you have to say to this statement by Senator Nenadi, the CTC committee chairman of Labour Party?
CTC is still recognized in the party levels. Laurentia, I know Nanadi in person. In 2017, I was among the delegates that went to meet her because she's from Southern Kaduna, and I was making a documentary on trying to find a common front between the Muslims and Christians in Southern Kaduna. So Nanadi, I want to ask a rhetorical question: is he the face that will unite Labour Party? I doubt. And Nanadi, having also coming from the background of PDP, she was a senator in the mandate of PDP. I now ask a question: can't Labour Party find someone that is Labour Party rooted? You know, because the image maker of the party should be somebody above board. Did they choose her because she's a woman? How did we see the input she made during the 2020-2023 general elections? These are the million-dollar questions to ask. It's not if Labour Party want to build on what all the things she has laid out there. It's not by writing it in black and white. It's by doing it. Let the action speak. Let them do the talking. You know. But if you ask me, it is not the person of Nanadi that will unify Labour Party. That's my honest my honest position. So I don't want to go into all the things she said and all how the dreams. But at least it is yet to be seen whether the crisis they had, if the Labour Party was not deregistered during the Lamidi Apapa and Abure conflict, when there was two, heavy factions, I don't think Labour Party would have been deregistered in her own words, because though the congresses, remember that even the Congress, they are even
you are
now...
aware that INEC already had excluded the Abure-led executives?
Yes,
recently.
with the meeting they invited
when
them.
you say you don't think they will be deregistered, that move by INEC, what exactly does it mean?
It is not the only... NEC is not the only organ of a political party. INEC would have written to the stakeholders and the BOT. There are conscience of the party. It's not only the NEC that is the imposition of a political party. So INEC has that was the reason why the stakeholders quickly came together to arrest the situation, which was long overdue in my assessment. So what she has posited here is they are in their own thinking and in what they want to do to make sure that the party stays afloat. But to say that the person that will achieve this and the person that will form that unifying factor, even with the collaborations of people, the likes of Obi and the likes of the governor of Abia State, Oti, and their likes, is not, in my own view, is not the person of Nanade. Right. They should also get some people in the committee that have the face of making peace, and those that have the capacity of reaching out.
And in your opinion, who has the capacity?
No, in Labour Party there are. Let us not forget that you have the NLC committee that also has an oversight function on the Labour Party as a political party. So they should bring up those people
NLC,
and find out.
NLC that has a current ongoing battle with Abure-led executive?
No, not the NLC, the
if
NLC committee.
If you say Nenadi cannot, in your opinion, be able to run a national convention and, successfully see the installation, election and inauguration of new national executive
council.
I asked, who in your opinion would be able to
in my opinion, if in this particular committee, they have drawn in the person that deputized Obi during the last general election in the person of Dati Baba Ahmed, if they have drafted the likes of the Kenneth Okonkwo, whom Labour Party wants to push away, and drafted the person who is now the current obedient national acting chairman. These are the people you will, if you bring them on board, because these are the people we know their antecedents. I have told you here that Nenadi's antecedents and from where she's coming from is not. I'm not questioning the committee, but I'm questioning the face.
That she's from PDP.
The face of the committee. What is her reputation? What is her character? And what has she even
what
to
is
offer?
Nenadi's character?
No, I mean politically, that when she was only a one-time senator.
So because it's not a ranking senator in your opinion.
No, it's not, I'm not about talking
the leadership position and actually steer the ship of the party aright.
She can't steer the ship of the party aright
in
this critical moment in order to reach out to the people like Abure and all those people that are playing this hydra-headed party leadership, holding very tenacious this party structure. I don't think she's the person that will make that kind of inroads.
Okay, Ndamzi, what do you have to say to this?
Well, my position is simple. I want to start by commending the stakeholders who took that urgent steps to recovering the life of the party, because INEC was almost at the point of deregistering that party, and the steps INEC took are lawful steps according to our Electoral Act and the Constitution. So it's a welcome development that the stakeholders met and saw a reason to curb that disciplinary action on the party. Then on the part of Nenadi, doing all she can to bring peace and life back to the party, I think all Nenadi needs at this point is support of the stakeholders in the party, because she alone cannot radicalize the party to bring in oneness, peace, and togetherness. She needs that understanding of the warring factions, the likes of Abure, the likes of her papa, and in her statement, she has said it categorically that all offended parties will be brought to a round table to see how they can come up with a solution. That is the best, I think.
From Abure's stance,
yes.
Do you see that happening?
Yes, it is very obvious that Abure is working against the party. From the actions of Abure.
Regardless of whoever is made the CTC, the National Caretaker Committee chairman, regardless of whether it's Nenadi or Obidati, in Ugochukwu's opinion, do you think that do you see Abure capitulating? Do not forget that after the emergence of Nenadi Osman, by the way, through an election, Abure came out to say that no more secret cow treatment for P2B, that the presidential Anoti, it's open for everybody, and he went on a rant and all of that. When you look at the nature and the character of the man Abure, do you see him actually coming to a round table to have conversations?
Well, I wouldn't want to preempt, whatever act Abure may put up when that invitation is extended to him. But as a gentleman, I think he has no option than to budge, because he is not bigger than the party. Okay, the party is one big family that is bigger than him. There is this saying in our local parlance that a man cannot cook for the community and the food will remain. But if the community cooks, such a man can't even eat 1/10 of the food. So Abure is just one single individual in the party. When the party sits and try to solve their problem, if Abure decides to continue making trouble, the party has a right to show him,
to suspend him,
yeah,
or
that suspend him or show him
the door
out of the party.
All right. Former presidential candidate, sorry about that. President Bassirou Faye of Senegal has dissolved the National Assembly and scheduled new legislative elections for November 17. He said, after consulting the Constitutional Council on the right date, the Prime Minister and the President of the National Assembly on the appropriateness, I dissolved the National Assembly. And I announced that the legislative elections holds on November 17, Faye said in a message to the nation. Despite winning the presidential election with 54.28% of the vote in March, his party, the African Patriots of Senegal for Work, Ethics and Fraternity Party, holds the minority position in the National Assembly. Meanwhile, the coalition of the outgoing President Macky Sall controlled majority of the 165 seats. Ndamzi, interesting developments in Senegal with the president dissolving the National Assembly. Wow. Africa has interesting political trends. What do you have to say to this? Is this democracy playing out?
Well, it depends on what their constitution and the laws.
If he allows the president to do that.
And for him to take this step, that shows that their law allows that. But here in Nigeria, it is a complete different ball game altogether. The president has no powers to dissolve the National Assembly.
Well, maybe it's a presidential system of government and not a democracy,
yes,
if that makes sense at all.
Yes, I think their law allows that ordinarily. If not, the president wouldn't have taken that step.
But you know, there is something about the African countries and their peculiarities, particularly the nature of democracy in African countries. It's not... the democracy in this part of the world is peculiar in the sense that certain things can happen that will not ordinarily happen in other continents, and it's normal.
It's so absurd that a president who is elected can as well dissolve a National Assembly who also...
And apparently his party has minority seats.
In that
so that to a large extent will not give him the flexibility he needs to work and probably put up some bills. Well, let me come to Gochukwu. Gochukwu, what do you have to say to this development in Senegal?
Interesting types of democracy we see in Africa, because if you look at Senegal and the peculiarities, they say that politics is local. No matter the connotation, democracy, but if you go to different countries, they practice the democratic system that suits them and their peculiarities. So the one that Senegal operates, remember that their own democracy is also rooted with the French, with their French colonial masters. Oh. So they will be drawing from their system of assimilation. And what plays out there is that, like now, they call the president of the Senate and the vice, and also they have the role of the prime minister and all that. So these are their own systems.
But if it's going to be an election, if they are to be elected into office, it means that the office should have a tenure.
But right? here so now you find out that
dissolving a national assembly that
in their constitution, you not take it away if there is a constitutional provision on an act that has backed up the president from for him to dissolve non-functional or because of this particular crisis that happened, he might feel that
the way he
it is from the act of the National Assembly that has created the disparity and what the progression that the country has seen so far. So, and again, we don't know whether he has an executive power that authorizes him to now ask the National Assembly. Just that here in Nigeria, you find out that the National Assembly can make a law. The president can withdraw his assent, and the National Assembly also, the same constitution that empowers the president to give his assent also empowers the National Assembly to also have a process of vetoing Mr. President or Mr. Governor, as the case may be. So these are what we see. So he might not have acted outside the provisions of his presidential powers. And now, what he's going to do, even if he has dissolved it, there is no guarantee that his party will gain the majority of, because his party is relatively new. It's relatively an amalgamation of different political parties that accumulated into, taking power. But as it is now, what he wants to do is for the good governance, not even looking at whether his party will retain the majority. From the way he has emerged as a president through a free and fair election, or maybe the nation has understood that we need to take back our country for a better governance to take effect. Now, those people who has been in the National Assembly might have emerged through those corrupt electoral processes before, and they are now head-bent on being a clog into the progress of the nation. He now used his veto power or the constitutional provision of an executive order to dissolve them. Don't forget that the president also pronounces the lifetime of that assembly into effect. So if he has the authority to pronounce it into existence, he should also have the authority to dissolve. Despite the fact that it is through an election that they will emerge. So they cannot form a quorum without the president legalizing it. So if he has come to that and know that if I continue with this set of people and waiting for election to come up, I will have a problem. And he now knows that when these elections is conducted, the people will now choose the people that are going to serve them, having seen how the president has emerged and the blueprint that he has for the country. So it is now left for the people of Senegal to choose the people, not in the old order, but to now choose with the new order and what their president have in mind and what they want to see the president do for them. So this election that is coming up will now provide a veritable opportunity for the citizens of Senegal to now make the rightful choice, those that will back the president up in achieving his goals for the nation.
Well, this appears to be a fight between the Senegal's executive and opposition-controlled parliament. More like what is playing out in Rivers State, where the House of Assembly is at variance with the... and you recall how President Faye became president actually, yes, on that very, tightly contested, and it was tough.
That is why I said the old order and the new order.
In prison. But then let's look at the reactions coming in from Senegal, the citizens of Senegal. It says, after weeks of mounting tension between Senegal's executive and the opposition-controlled parliament, President Bachiru has dissolved the National Assembly. The move promises this particular move. Now, these are the reactions of the Senegalese, some of them. This move fulfills the wishes of the president's supporters.
Okay.
But it has sparked a heated debate among Senegalese citizens. Now, one said it is in their interest. His name is Diallo, a local observer, suggests the decision is strategic. He said if they dissolve the assembly, it's because they see it serving their interest. But the real priority should be allowing the new government time to implement its program for the benefit of the people.
Okay.
Now, another person says it's a legal move but very controversial. The supporters of the decision, like Seido Song, argue that it's not only legal but necessary given the current political landscape. He said, the dissolution of parliament is a good decision, considering the assembly no longer aligns with the president's ambitions.
Okay.
He hasn't broken any laws. So the president's move is actually very lawful.
Yes.
Interesting. However, the opposition views the action as a political maneuver. They've raised concerns about how quickly elections are being organized, questioning the legality of bypassing the controversial sponsorship law. So the president, the timing, the window for the election will bypass the law. And they said it is a rush to manipulate the elections. Musa Diakate, an opposition MP, criticized the president's approach. He said, they want elections in 60 days. But what about the law on sponsorship? Where is the Constitutional Council's opinion? This is just another way to manipulate the public and cheat in the upcoming elections. So uncertainty lies ahead for both sides. Ndamzi, what do you have to say in face of these reactions from Senegalese citizens?
It's obvious that you see, some are happy that the president took that strategic decision.
The supporters of the president are happy.
And happy that he took that decision, and those whom the decision didn't favor,
the opposition,
are criticizing the move. It is just the case. But my advice should be this way: let the law take its course. If the move of the president is lawful and the president thinks it is time to dissolve them, in order to rejig the lawmaking process, so be it.
But they're saying it is a legal move.
That is
to lawful say, move. However, the window given by the president in preparation for the election bypasses there are certain laws that they must follow, the electoral act must follow that the president will bypass.
Then the MPs should challenge it in court.
Now, apparently for a sitting president to have the power to dissolve the National Assembly, you would wonder the power he has over the judiciary.
I see it as a doctrine of necessity. He has invoked the powers of the doctrine of necessity. Having seen that these people have become a clog in the wheel of progress, and the time is what he doesn't have, and he has to make an impression. Having gotten to the seat through which they were, we are here, and we saw what happened in Senegal and how he emerged. So those old order, remember what I said, the new order and the old order. Those people who are saying crying foul, that is what he's playing out. So the new order they know that even if elections are conducted today, the new order, they are ready. But because of those who, always play, psychophancy, and those who play through the gallery when elections are coming up, and those who want to use rhetorics to deceive the gullible voters at the old order. So they want that luxury of time. If you ask me today, if an election is to be conducted in Rivers State and the people are presented, I don't need a second thought to choose whom I feel will serve my interest. As we are in Nigeria now, everybody knows who can serve his or her interest. So we don't need to go through that whole hog of preparing for election for the next 4 years.
So probably this move by the president to dissolve the National Assembly is to reduce the majority seats by the opposition and bring in more persons
that align with his vision.
Of course. In order to give him a level playing ground. But then when you look at, for the sake of transparency and accountability, should the executive actually be in bed with the parliament in a country?
It shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be so because of separation of powers. If they are in bed, like the choice of word you used, that shows that there won't be clear-cut separation of power. And the executive will just be calling the shots the way he likes. Even the judiciary may not have.
Isn't that the move of this president?
That is exactly what
because he wants more persons.
He wants more persons on his side.
Yes, in the parliament.
In the parliament. He wants the lawmaking process to favor him and his policies.
Now, when you look at this critically and you understand how he emerged into the power and the stiff opposition he gave to to his predecessor. You know, at some point he was even
incarcerated.
Yes, he was incarcerated and all that. In fighting a system, it appears that in African politics, in fighting a system, you become the system.
Of course.
I don't know if you understand what I mean.
Of course.
Because at the end of the day, you see politicians in Nigeria and even in Africa criticize a particular government, you know, go all out to criticize a particular government. And at the end of the day, when they are in government, they become worse than the people they criticized. What do you have to say to that, Ndamisi?
It's just an act of character and whom the persons are, because I believe strongly that there are persons who will criticize the government and at the same time, given opportunity, they will do the right things. It's just a question of character and also whether the persons involved would want to toe the path of wrong.
You'll be fighting institutions.
Right. Yes. See,
you know that. You'll be fighting institutions. Probably in this instance, the Senegalese president has visions he needed to implement. He has things he needs to do, but of course he has to pass through the parliament. And the parliament is an opposition parliament that is directly opposed to everything he might want to do, and that to a large extent will frustrate him. So in order to fight an institution, you have to play the game of that institution. In playing the game of that institution, you have to adopt the characteristics and the vices of that institution to play with them. At the end of the day, you stay in the mud long enough and you realize that you are as tainted as the people in the mud.
It's obvious. It's just the African situation. And it is so annoying that we find ourselves in this part of the world where, you know, people don't obey rules. Leaders assume powers of God and met it out anyhow, dish it out anyhow they so wish. I so desire a united Africa where one day democratic principles will prevail.
United Africa.
A united Africa, an Africa where the children from the slum will have a say.
With the Sahel countries?
Yes.
All right. Ugochukwu, quickly, what do you have to say as we round up this show?
I want to say that anybody that becomes a president becomes an institution, and we want to leave a legacy that he will be remembered for. And when you look at those our brothers from the East Africa and those, especially those who are being colonized by the French, they have undergone a lot of marginalization, a lot of people trying to gag them and think for them. So for the Senegalese president who came on board, like I keep saying, he's of the new order. The youths have seen it all. They want to liberate themselves. This is a fight for liberation. This is a fight to show that we can do it. This is a fight to show that after all we are not monkeys as they think. And this, after all, we are rational human beings. And for him to make that impression, he has gotten that opportunity. It is unlike in Nigeria, where we clamored for technocrats, like Soludo came on board. I have not seen anything that has changed. We clamored for youths. We had the likes of Yaya Bello, who is into hiding now. We had the likes of Abo, who is a serial woman beater and displayed his youthful exuberance in assaulting a woman. And today, you could now realize what the former president Muhammadu Buhari said about the youths and begin to think in your head whether he was after all right. So now that this young man has gotten into the position of trust, not even as somebody who is seconding someone, he's now at the helm. It is now for him to redefine what the African youths have in mind for their future. And you cannot take it away that in that assembly, they emerge with the old process of the old order, which he fought, which the youth stick out their neck and fought that this is our own. We want to chart a new course and retire those politicians of the old order. In order for him to get it, you don't forget that even the opposition might be fielding younger candidates and people that have vision. So the election is not only for his party, the election will be an open play for people to make the right choice. And he will not even, in their own system, I don't think that it is is the same with our system, where the president will want to have the whole assembly members and the Senate president and House of Representative speaker be in the same bed with him. No, but in turning out ideas, just like Peter Obi said, that I didn't say I'm going to run as a vice president. What I said is that if I see people...
Sorry, that is also
with the same...
One of the opposition said that this is a rush to manipulate elections.
No, see,
that's what they said.
Those are the dissenting voices from the old order.
But they are not,
because people will fear. You know, people normally, the greatest fear is fear itself. Is the fear of the unknown from the person who is reacting.
Right.
But what we have seen the president, what is the antecedents of this president? What has he brought on board? What has he brought on the table? Is he aligning with the French? Is his rule, you know, trying to redefine and recapture what the Senegalese are known for? Okay. That is the way they should be looking up to in order to vote when they want to cast their votes.
As the elections heat up in Senegal will bring you stories as they develop. Thank you so much, Ndamsi, for coming on Open Air. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Lauricia. Thank you for having me.
And thank you, Gochku, for coming. It's also a pleasure having you.
Lauricia, we are watching Senegal and the power play in Africa and try to know where we are heading to in the next century.
All right.
And again, to our Muslim Ummah and brothers, we wish them happy Eid Day tomorrow, and Nigerian workers and students happy holiday.
All right. We are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Do not forget, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. I am Ogu Laurentia. See you at the same time tomorrow. Bye for now.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
On this place, economic stability and confidence. To condemn this act, I propose to get the leave of this minister and the president.
People access to our money will come in charge.
As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring